Most of us are just about as happy as we make up our minds to be. That is a quote by William Adams.
Welcome to Trina Talk. Trina Talk is a weekly podcast that will inspire and empower women of all ages to strive for the impossible. Your host, Trina L. Martin from TrinaMartin.com, is a motivational speaker, leader, and cyber tech expert. Every week, Trina will share wisdom gained from her life experiences and lessons learned while pursuing her goals to inspire you to achieve the next level in your life. Now, your host, Trina L. Martin.
Hello, welcome to Trina Talk. I am your host, Trina L. Martin, and this is episode 40. The topic of this week's episode is Single and Happy Over 40. My guest this week is Ty Wilson. When Ty is not serving as host of Single and Happy in Charlotte podcast, Ty is a freelance writer and blogger who acts as the communications department for multiple small businesses. Ty believes if she can help her clients with their content as a writer and an editor, they will be free to work on the core task within their businesses. Ty holds a BA in communications, a MA in urban studies, and is studying to earn her PhD in communications. I am so excited to have Ty here with me today because she is a girl just like me, single, happy, and over 40. Hi, Ty. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Trina. Thanks for having me.
Well, thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to be here. I think this is going to be a fun episode because we have some things in common. And I'm sure you know about Trina Talk, where we are all about motivating and inspiring.
Yeah.
You and I have some things in common. You are also a single woman over 40 and you're happy. So, girl, tell me about that.
Yes. Well, it didn't start this way, but I'm learning more and more every day. I feel every day I'm becoming more and more at peace with being single. It doesn't mean that I'm a man hater. It doesn't mean that I'm anti-love or anti-marriage. It just means that I am at peace where I am right now. I'm actually, I'm actually dating somebody now. So, but I'm happy with however the chips may fall.
So go ahead. I'm sorry.
That's okay. So, do you want me to start with the beginning? Because if that didn't start, being single and happy did not start in my 40s. The journey started in my 30s.
Yeah, tell me about your journey because I'm pretty sure you're a lot like me. We kind of matured, let's say, into being single over 40 and happy. So
the thing, and I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but this makes me so excited. So what happened in my 30s, I don't know if this is the case for you, but when I turned 30, I cried most of my birthday during that day. I cried because at 30, I felt like I should have had this, that, and the third, and I didn't. But funny thing happened when I turned 40. I was so at peace. I'm going to try not to curse, but on my podcast, Single and Happy in Charlotte, there is cursing. But I did not care about what I had or had not accomplished. And the thing is that once I stopped stressing over it, things began to develop. Things began to happen. The things that I wanted became into a reality. But when I was in my 30s, I was engaged and I started blogging about being in my 30s and engaged. And I also had, I guess you could say, like a lookbook of colors, patterns, things that I wanted for my wedding. My daughter, she was in her teens at the time, she's an artist. She's very creative in her own right. And so she was creating everything from how the napkins would be designed with our logo the runner for the floor. She was just so creative. She was even wanting to help me design my own dress. And so all of this we uploaded and added into my lookbook, which was also the blog. And, so the fiance and I, we got engaged in, I want to say April of 2010, almost 10 years ago now. And so fast forward to January of 2011, we moved into a brand new house outside of Baltimore, just brand new from the ground up. I didn't think we were ready to move in, but, he worked on his credit. We both were, but we were told, not to do anything right away. But, with certain people, you can't tell them anything. So, we saw our credit points, moving up a little bit, and so he decided, we're going to go ahead and, get into this brand new house. I'm literally watching the house being built from the ground up. For some reason, in my spirit, I was not as excited as I should have been. We moved exactly on January 1st, 2011. We're in the house. We're painting the rooms. And again, I was so guilty I didn't tell anybody. I was not as excited as I felt I should have been. I mean, honestly, who's excited about painting? I don't know. But the fact that I was with my man, I had this big behind ring on my hand, which people who know me personally, they know that I am not a big jewelry person. I'm not that person. I don't knock anybody who is, but that's just not me. So when I would walk into work, I was working for a major nonprofit at the time, for Black folks in Baltimore. I don't want to say the name, but it's the most popular one in Baltimore. So I would walk through the halls, and people would tell me that's like the first thing they see is this ring. I mean, it was a heck of a ring. And honestly, we picked it out, which means I picked it out as well. And when I got it, I was like, wow, this is really huge. But, we got it, and I flaunted it because I was engaged. And, people who, how coworkers are, they see it and they're like, I heard about this ring. The ring became its own person. That's how big this ring was. And so I say that to say I had all of these things going on, brand new ring, house, about to be in a brand new house. At a time in 2011 when, people were just getting over the recession and people were still struggling, but here we are, this Black couple, quote unquote, Black love. And, we were making it happen. We had a good combined income, 6-figure easily, but for some reason, I was not as excited. Of course, if you were to talk to me or you texted me or you sent me an email, I could, as a writer, I'm a freelancer. So as a writer, I can portray being excited in my words. But in my heart, I just was not as excited. There were other things that were making me more excited at the time, like what was coming on TV that night. You know what I'm saying? So that's pretty bad.
Yeah.
So yes. So a couple of weeks later, it was around Martin Luther King weekend, which is about 2 weeks after the first of the year. It's 4:30 in the morning. He wakes me up, and it wasn't for sex. It was to break up with me. He said he couldn't do it. And the thing is that earlier that evening when he got off from work, he's a police officer. When he got home, he just seemed really sad about something. He didn't want to explain it. I thought it was about work. I kind of moved it along. I did not see this coming. I knew that things weren't perfect, but I was told that, there wouldn't, you're not going to look for, you're not going to find perfection. He woke me up at 4:30 in the morning to break up with me. I thought he was kidding, but he wasn't. It turned into a big fight. So we're fighting. I'm throwing the ring across the room. And, if it's like that, I go into another room. This was a huge house. So I went into another bedroom for the rest of the morning. just kind of gathered my thoughts. I didn't go back to sleep. I mean, how could you? But he told me he had met somebody at a gym, and that's what it was. So, I'm on the phone with my mother later on that day, and I'm like, I'm just ready to go. I'm just ready to get out of here. I wasn't ready to move back to New York, which is where I'm originally from. But I had lived in North Carolina before. She wanted me to come home, which they live on the border of Virginia and North Carolina, outside of Greensboro.
Mm-hmm.
But I wasn't ready to move back to the country. I really did not want to move, because I'm in my late 30s at the time. I did not want to move back to the country. So I did all I could, went to college, and, eventually got a master's so that I wouldn't have to move back to the country. But my brother, who had just gotten married in 2010, in August of 2010, he lived in Charlotte. And when I told him what was going on, his, my sister-in-law in the background, she's like, come on down. And that's all I needed to hear. So I started looking for jobs, and, I'm confident in myself to know that I'm going to find a job, even if I don't find one before I get there. And that's exactly what happened. So I ended up moving. I turned my blog from being, this engaged person over 30 to being single and happy in Charlotte, because I ended up moving to Charlotte, and that was in 2011. And so, like I said, I've been on dates since then. Of course, the ex wanted to come back. They always do. And, the day that I finally moved, he had to go to work that morning. And I told him, I said, you know what, you might as well go back to bed, because I'm leaving. I was actually leaving. I think he was on second shift that week. And I was telling him, I was like, yeah, you might as well go back to bed. I'm taking this crock pot and everything else, because I had a crock pot in my arms. I said, I'm out. And that was the last time I think that was the last time I saw him. I probably saw him again when I went to pick up some mail or something. But other than that, I've not seen him since. And that was almost 10 years ago. And so what happened, I'm in Charlotte. I'm getting, 6 months in with Charlotte, and minding my business, getting some copy done for a client. And I get a tweet that there's an earthquake in Maryland, which is very rare. It's very rare to hear about earthquakes outside of California. And so when I heard about it, he was one of the first people I contacted, because I wanted to make sure he was okay. And I wanted to make sure he was safe. As a police officer, I figured he would be out and about, but I wanted to make sure that he was good. And he also has a daughter, so I wanted to make sure that they were good. I called the number. I texted the number. I didn't get an answer back, so I got worried. I called the number. I got bueno, which means the number is no longer his. It belongs to a Hispanic person. And I was like, okay. And so I don't remember if she called me or I called her, but a mutual friend of ours, she basically was saying, well, you heard about what happened to him, right? I was like, yeah, he's dating so-and-so, another person that we knew. She was like, well, they're engaged. So he got engaged 6 months after we broke up.
Wow.
And I was devastated for like 2 weeks. I called my mother. I was like, Mom, this is not fair. Why would he do this? Because clearly he cheated, right?
Now, this was the same person that he cheated and left you for, that he was engaged to now.
Yeah. Well, no, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. This person, no. This person, so we were all in a travel group.
Uh-huh.
And this is before everybody was bragging about going places. We've been doing this since the 90s.
Okay.
And so this person, she lived in California.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently, while I was, being that I'm the type of woman where, I'm not keeping tabs on you, because if you're going to cheat on me, you can cheat on me anytime. but I'm just not going to give that kind of energy to a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And that opened the door for him to do what he wanted to do, which means he could have flown her out. She was flued out, as they say now, or he could have flown out to her as, as when he's telling me he's going somewhere else. But whatever the case was, they got engaged. He swears that they weren't together, but you don't get engaged to somebody 6 months after. I mean, that's neither here nor there at this point, but I was devastated. And, it's hard to be single and happy, but I had to learn, because I know who he is, and I knew that he and I would not have made it anyway. To give you a spoiler alert, they got divorced like almost 2 years ago. So I don't think they were married for 5 years.
Wow.
Yeah. So I say that to say, here's the thing. Let me just go back for a minute. When we were in this house, about to move into the new house, we were still in the townhouse. We were about to move into the new house. I had to, and I shared this with you before, but I, got up and used the restroom. I heard a voice from God. And the thing is that when people think that God is going to speak to them, they think it's going to be this official type of thing that you might see in the movies. He did not call me by my full name. My name is not Ty. That's what everyone calls me. That's what he called me. He said, Ty, if you leave right now, or later in the day, if you prepare to leave, I will bless you in so many ways. And I'm thinking, he already blessed me. Where's this coming from? I'm about to move to this brand new house. I have this fat ring on my finger. Everything seems to be good. It's not perfect, but everything seems to be good. So what is this voice? I heard that voice 3 times, Trina. God told me to leave this person. And he told me to do it before the 4:30 wake up call.
Wow.
So yeah, I mean, a lesson there is, if God is trying to speak to you, you better listen. But you know what? I eventually left, and when that happened, you would have thought that the guy's middle name is, I didn't like his A no way, because whenever I would tell my family and friends about this, about what happened, they would say, well, Ty, you're better off, because I didn't like his A no way. I've gotten that from everyone. And I began to get blessed. My daughter, who was, a tween by this time, we were all blessed. Her father, her and I get along. He actually got married, and, we all ended up living in the same area at one point. And, to this day, we're still good friends. Today, my daughter's 21 years old, full scholarship, about to start her senior year in August at Bowie State. I'm getting a PhD at another college, which I'm going to refrain from sharing right now. But, single and happy in Charlotte is a movement now. I have the blog, I have the podcast, building a membership site. And next year I'll be touring the country, and just sharing my story. I have a book that I've pretty much shelved, because you know how it is, when it comes to your own work, we're our own worst critic. But, all of that is going to come into fruition within the next year or two, or the next year.
Mm-hmm.
And, along with that came, oh, you're a writer? I need you to do this for me. So from there, Thailand Unlimited just became my company, where I'm blogging for small businesses. I'm, producing all kinds of copy for small businesses and individuals as well. And, last month, not even last month, a few weeks ago, really, the start of June, I was invited to speak to some entrepreneurs at a workshop about copywriting, about why they need a copywriter. And that was well received. And from that, I'm gaining, more clients. Just so many things so many doors have been opening for me since 2011. And would it have happened had I stayed in this relationship? I'm going to go ahead and say no to that, just because of this type of person. I don't want to talk ill about people, but just because of the type of person that he is, that the ex is, none of that would have happened. And so, yeah, when God's trying to tell you something, you got to listen.
You know, your story, I'm sitting here listening, and you're going to enjoy the questions that I have for you at the end, because you're going to have some good stuff to say. But that's funny how, yeah, you turned that whole situation around, and like you said, doors are starting to open and things are just going well for you. But it's funny how we end up in these situations, because I've been there too, where you know you shouldn't be in that situation, but you're there thinking, okay, this person is going to appreciate me, or this person is going to
and it's not even that. It was just that everything looked the part. I mean, we're, building this house, and even before we got the house, he was paying most of the bills. I paid like smaller bills if I wanted to, but he pretty much was taking care of us. I had, like I said, the ring, and I'm not a big person on that, but to some people that is an important thing. And I apparently it just pretty much made me, I guess I want to say, more popular, which is crazy, because stuff like that should not matter at a certain age, but I guess it did. I thought that just because things weren't perfect, it didn't mean that things weren't right. We were going to get married, so in the eyes of God and in Christianity, by Christian standards, we were making things right. So as long as we were going to stick to a plan and do that, I thought everything was okay. So, yeah, it was hard. It really was hard for me to listen to that voice, especially when God's calling me Ty, which I thought was bizarre, because that's not my whole name. That's not my government name. And he talked to me like he's just he is a friend of mine, He talked like he's one of my people, like, Ty, listen, And when I heard that, I was like, you got to be kidding me, because I'm wearing, everything is in motion. The only thing we hadn't done, we were setting dates at the time. We were looking at dates. So we had not set a date, but we were looking at dates, because we were moving in the house sooner than I thought we would have, or what I felt was too early anyway. But we were moving into this house. We were preparing for that. So the thing is that we were going to set a date after we got settled. So we were on our way to setting a date, and it's just weird how things happen, because I thought that everything was okay. It wasn't perfect, like I said, but I thought everything was okay. So yeah, it that really did hit me like a ton of bricks, and I had to decide: am I going to let this consume me, or am I going to move forward and just be this single person who will just continue, enjoy life? Because I've been single most of my adult life anyway. So it's nothing foreign to me. I know a lot of women, they jump in and out of relationships. I'm total opposite of that. So it wasn't really hard for me to become this single person where I would go on dates. Like I said, I'm dating someone now, but I'm not in a relationship. So, and I'm okay with that. So.
And that was going to be a question, that I have is, how did you get to the point to move past that? Because like I said, I'm pretty sure you were devastated. Like you said, you bought this brand new house, had this house built, you're walking around with this big ring on, and then boom, all of a sudden in the, wee hours of the morning, he tells you this. So how did you get past that? How did you not turn bitter? And
it was hard. I mean, it was just like how people say love is an action word. moving on and healing is an action also. I think a lot of times when people think about healing, they think that, it's just going to happen naturally. All you have to do is just sit down somewhere and go into your normal routine of work, taking care of the children, and whatever else you're obligated to do, and then you will eventually heal. It doesn't work like that. Healing, I think, is an action word. Healing is something that you have to force yourself to do, and I've had to force myself to do that. Like I said, I've had times where I was going out somewhere with some friends in Charlotte, about to enjoy a Friday evening. I sat in a parking lot and bawled I just cried, and I called my mother. And the first thing I said when she said hello, she said hi, Ty, because she knew it was me, is, this isn't fair. Why would this happen? This should not have happened, because I thought I was doing everything right. Now, when I say that, I mean that I felt that I was giving this person the same energy that I was receiving. And with that, I will say that we both, did wrong in the relationship. He wasn't honest, I wasn't honest. I will say that. Mm-hmm. But like I said, we were giving each other the same energy up until 4:30 in that morning, where that came out of nowhere, because you're not getting a house. You're not planning a wedding with somebody who you're not 100% sure with, or so I thought. Mm-hmm. So it's definitely a process, and people have to embrace that process. I think a lot of times people want the healing to happen really fast, or others may pressure you into forgiveness really fast, or to getting over it. I've had people tell me, you got to get over it. You got to get over it. Well, that's not what you want to do if you're a friend of that person who needs to be healed. You do not set a time limit on that. And it's not fair for somebody to think just because, well, I got over it in a month, then you should be able to get over it in a month. It could take a year, Hopefully it doesn't take more than a year. But you know what? You got to respect the process. And that's what I did. I allowed myself to grieve, and I allowed myself to actively heal, meaning, one day I decided I am going to start dating again. And I started doing that, and getting back into the dating scene is, you got to have a sense of humor, especially at my age now. I'm 46. You got to have a sense of humor with it, because it's different, especially when you've been with somebody for a long time. Now you're, out here and you are dealing with WYD text, what you're doing. You're dealing with people who want to just have full on conversation in a text.
Yes.
And like I said, I'm a freelance writer, and that's what I do, but that doesn't mean I want to spend my free time writing to you. I'd rather pick up the phone and we have a conversation. I got to hear what you're saying.
Yes.
I'd rather see what you're saying. So, it takes a while to get used to how people operate now.
Yes.
But like I said, I have a sense of humor that I bring with me when I'm dating now. And, I'm kind of happy where I'm at, because I'm kind of, I don't want to get into it right now, but there's somebody who is, on the radar, and the feeling's mutual. And so we're just kind of seeing where it goes right now. Well, I'm actually excited. I'm actually blushing.
Well, I'm glad. That's good for you, because, I am, like I told you, I'm similar as well, because I'll actually, in a few days, I'll be 48, and I'm single, and I've come to a point where I'm okay with it. I'm happy. Like you said, in my 30s, and I've been married before and I have kids, but, I was like, oh, I really would like to have the right person in my life to just, you think about, I don't want to grow old alone. And
right. And it's okay to feel that, I mean, I don't think we're meant to be alone, but don't think that we're meant to jump into another relationship just because we are alone. I
Right.
think when we're single, we need to, well, I don't want to turn this into a sermon, but if you're a believer, you got to look to God to see where He wants you to be. Right now, He wants me to get this PhD. And right now, He wants me to continue to build what I'm building as an entrepreneur. Does He agree with my dating, episodes? Probably not. But does he agree with the plans that I'm making for this weekend? Probably not. But in his own way, he is showing me that I can, use this time, use this season, because it is a season. Use the season as a time to learn more about myself and to learn how to forgive myself and to love myself, which, people say that you got to learn how to love yourself, and they don't really understand how to.
Right.
And I think the way to do that is just being single, not having the relationship, cloud you, because a lot of times a relationship can kind of take you out of being you. It's because there's a lot of compromise involved.
Right.
Which is not, there's nothing wrong with compromising, but sometimes, as women, we tend to lose ourselves. You have to be careful with that.
Exactly.
And, the guy I'm seeing now, he's not demanding. I really like him. He's a really nice guy. And so, had I jumped into another relationship, which I actually was in a relationship since this breakup for about 2 years. That was, for over a year, I should say. It wasn't even 2 years yet. But, I wasn't ready for a relationship because I was not looking for the signs that he wasn't the one. And those eventually revealed themselves to me. So, you definitely need to make sure that you are in tune. Self-awareness, it's all about self-awareness. And I know that's a buzzword, but it's very important to understand the importance of being self-aware.
Right. Well, you know what? We're going to go into my questions after that, because I think you summed up everything very nicely. So,
thank you.
So I ask every guest 10 questions, and these are kind of to get to know you better. So they're, just no right or wrong. I don't have any comments for them. You tell me what you think. So number one is, who or what motivates you?
Who or what motivates me? I want to say that my mom, she motivates me, but probably not for the reasons most people think, because, she's a great mom. And that's not to discount my dad, because he's a great father as well. But I'm thinking about women right now. She has done so much, and I don't want to put the family business out here, but she has done so much. She has she's faced so much, and she does it with so much grace, And I if I could be like her, it's really hard because of my mouth, but she does, she faces so many people and things with so much grace. But the irony is that even though I'm really not like that person, my daughter is, when I'm talking to my daughter about things about school and, things she might be facing with, she sounds a lot like my mom. She's like, well, this is going on. I'm like, well, Tyra, I would be pissed. She's like, well, what am I going to do about it? I got to deal with it. Da-da-da. Like, where is this coming from? Because I'm a lot more emotional than she is, but she's a lot like my mom. So I thank God for that. So yeah, my mom inspires me the most. And, to that, I'll say my daughter inspires me because, it's got to be hard being a millennial out here with Instagram, who's the prettiest, who has the biggest what and the biggest, the biggest this, that, and the third, and who's the best at it. You know what I mean? And that pressure, as much pressure as it is to be over 40 and dating, there has to be a lot of pressure, being a millennial these days, because everything is on social media, and if you're not on social media, then it looks like that you're nobody, I would imagine. And so, Tyra, my daughter's name is Tyra. She does that with so much grace, and for that, I'm so proud of her.
Okay. So what demotivates you?
What demotivates me would be mediocrity.
Okay.
And I understand that people that, we're all not given, we're not all dealing with the same hand. We do not receive the same hand. I definitely was not born with a silk spoon in my mouth. But I know people who were, but they still will, show up to work late or call out, the last minute, just have that I don't care attitude. And I find that, when I'm trying to help someone, they're finding a million reasons why they can't do it. And I'm showing them a million reasons why they can, because I literally did it. So all they have to do is just follow what I did.
Okay.
And like I said, I don't think I'm better than anybody else at all, but I feel like some people can work harder, but they don't. And they're okay. And they're okay with where they're at.
Right.
They're settling. And I see this a lot in women. And I see this a lot in women who are unhappily married. I see this in women whose men will inbox me trying to take me out. And the wives know that they're like this, but they're going to stay with them because they're in this house and they're in this relationship, and they feel like, I put in so much time that I don't want to go anywhere else, even though he's treating me like this. So, people who are, okay with being okay, that kind of bothers me.
Okay. When was a time that something was said or done to hurt you, but it worked for your good?
When something was said about me?
Said or done to hurt you.
Okay.
But it worked together for your good.
Well, I think I just explained that earlier when, the so-called love of my life woke me up at 4:30 in the morning.
Yeah, but, that's why I said, when you said it, I said, I think you already have the answer for this question.
But I mean, there's quite a few, I've been told that I'm an enigma. And I've been told many times that, I'm different. I don't know if I should take that to meaning, good, bad, or indifferent, but I get told that quite often. And with that comes, oh, you're a B, you're this, you're that. And, I'm not going to say I embrace that. I mean, who wants to be called these bad words, but then when you're looking at who's calling you these words, somebody, I don't know, somebody who saw something I wrote on Facebook or something I wrote in a blog, or something they heard, then, you got to consider a source. But I guess the way I would combat that is just to continue doing what I'm doing, because if little old me, living in Charlotte is, affecting your energy, then clearly I'm doing something right. So I just continue to do what I have to do. As long as it does not affect my daughter and myself, I'm fine with it.
Okay. What is your fear?
My fear is that I will fall head over heels with someone and slide back into a place that I really don't like. Meaning, I'm losing myself, because at my age, it would probably be hard to come back out of that. So that makes me nervous. So I'm really careful with who I spend my who I share my energy with.
Mm-hmm.
I have to be really careful with that. If you're narcissistic, I don't want to be near you. If Of course, if you're abusive, that's a no-brainer. I can spot that a mile away, based on not my personal experiences, but experiences that I've been told, that has been shared with me. And so, just looking out for that, I'm I'm just more careful now. Again, it's all about self-awareness.
Okay. Is there a time when you wish you had not where you wish you had done something that you didn't?
Absolutely, absolutely. So many times. One time was, there was an author, novelist that was in town, and he was doing a book signing, but he was also, um, you know, just a welcoming person where he's speaking to everyone. And I didn't want to get out of bed to see this person. And I find out later that he's talking to all these future writers. And I felt like, wow, that was an opportunity I think God may have placed, on my plate, and I didn't take advantage of it. And that's why I would never do that again. Now, does this mean that anything would have, come about of it? Not necessarily, but just thinking like that woke me up. And to this day, that happened maybe 4 years ago. And to this day, I said, I will never allow any possible opportunities, not even the opportunities, but a possible opportunity. I will never let them slip by.
Hmm. Okay. Is there a time when you wish that you had not done something?
Absolutely. I'm trying to think of a story that I can share that I'm ready to reveal right now. But yeah, there was a time where I was definitely in the wrong place at the wrong time, and it landed me in jail for the night.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and I was in the middle of getting my master's degree, and I was also an intern at a popular congressman's office. And yeah, that was the last place I needed to be.
Okay. What is your definition of success?
My definition of success is, waking up in the morning and just happy for no reason. Meaning, how you may see people saying, "I'm just glad to be alive," and they really mean it.
Mm-hmm.
That to me is success, because you're not looking at how much money I'm making or how much money I made, because perhaps you're already there, or perhaps you're not ever going to be there, but you're at peace with it. When you're at peace, I think that's probably the most success anyone can ever ask for.
Mm-hmm. How do you recharge?
I recharge with house music. I recharge with writing again, and I work from home, so being outside, especially here in North Carolina, Charlotte, where it's in the 90s again. Being outside and just having that sun hit my brown skin, child, that recharges me.
Okay. What are you awesome at?
Um, I don't want to brag on myself again, but if someone needs a writer, like someone's on social media and they're asking, who do you know that can write a resume for me? Who do you know who can write an about us page? I'm tagged quite often, and so I know I'm good at that. I think I'm also good at wine, tasting wine.
Yeah, that's one of my things. What legacy do you want to leave?
What legacy do I want to leave?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think since I only have one child, and I will only have one child, it's important that I leave with her, the ability to create your own.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the path that she's going, she probably will not have to create her own because she's going into a high demand field. Cybersecurity is what she's studying. IT it would be her major, but she'll be in so much demand where she may not have time to create her own business. But I come from a line of entrepreneurs, and I want her to know that this is something that is an option. It's also something you can do on the side. It's something you can do when you retire. And when I retire, the Thailand brand, I want to give that to her, and she can make that into anything she wants because it is Thailand Unlimited. Welcome to Thailand.
Okay. All right, Ty. Give the listeners one motivational takeaway.
One motivational takeaway is it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how much money you have or you don't have. It doesn't matter how many degrees you have. I like school. I thrive in academia. But there are a lot of successful people who do not. So just know that it doesn't matter. If it's in you to do something, go ahead and do it. Fail. Get your feet wet. That's what failing does. And just keep going. Also, something that I had to learn late in life is, to be patient. So just, patience and consistency, it still works, even in modern technology where everything is about the here and now. It still works.
Okay. Well, tell the listeners where they can find you if they need, like you said, a technical writer, about page, and your social media platforms.
Okay. Well, the main one would be facebook.com/Thailand Writes. That's TYLAND Writes with an S. If you want to get into my foolishness, that is, I am single and happy in Charlotte. I am single and happy in Charlotte on Facebook. I have the Single and Happy House Facebook group. And on Instagram, I'm also on Instagram, I am single and happy.
Okay, Ty. Well, thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule. It was very fun speaking with you.
Thank you.
If you like Trina Talk, please don't forget to go out to Apple Podcasts to rate and review. I want to hear from you. So if you're loving it, please let me know what you think. Let me know if there's any suggestions and how I can better serve you to give you that motivation and inspiration that you need. Also, who else in your life do you know that needs motivation and inspiration? Share the podcast with them as well. I hope you have a great week. And remember, if you change your mindset, you can change your life. Keep striving, because success is a journey, not a destination. You can listen to Trina Talk anytime and anywhere. It's available on iTunes, Google Play Music, Stitcher, Spotify, and all other places that you can listen to podcasts. If you like the podcast, please don't forget to go to iTunes to subscribe, rate, review, and share. If you have questions for me or need inspiration on how to go to the next level, tweet me directly at Trina L. Martin.